The COVID pandemic has hit the dental industry hard. A lot of dentists are worried about what's going to happen, how long it's going to take for their practice to recover, or if they're even going to be able to recover from this crisis. In this video, I'm going to share with you some statistics from Google about how many people are still looking for dentists and dental services, and show you that not only are you going to be okay, but this is actually a great time for you to focus on making your practice stand out so that you can reap the rewards for months to come. We're going to go over strategies for how to attract new patients after COVID and how you can get your dental practice back up to speed faster than your competitors. Stick around. Hi, I'm Nick from RevUp Dental, the company that helps dentists get more new patients, grow their practice, and beat their competition. Over the past few months, the COVID pandemic has gotten a lot of dentists worried about what's going to happen to their practice. Dentists have seen their revenue disappear virtually overnight as they've been forced to shut down. It's a really stressful time, and many dentists are seriously concerned about whether or not they'll even be able to recover. In today's video, I want to go over what you should be doing to not only help your practice get through the crisis, but actually come out on the other side much better off than other dentists in your area and set yourself up for strong growth over the months to come. The first thing you need to understand is that while the crisis has affected all dentists more or less equally, some dentists are going to come out of this situation much better off than others. This is primarily going to depend upon whether you're being proactive with your practice and making changes and improvements now so that you can reap the rewards later, or whether you're just sitting around and doing nothing and waiting to see how things play out. One of the beautiful things with the dental industry is that in many respects, it is very recession-proof, or at least recession-resistant. COVID is not going to somehow magically reverse tooth decay. Just because businesses are shut down does not mean that people no longer have tooth pain or no longer need to see a dentist. In many respects, what dentists are going to experience is not so much of a loss of revenue, but rather a deferral of revenue. And patients who need dental work are still going to need dental work after the shutdown is lifted. This brings me to my first point about what you need to do differently. You want to focus on very specific dental services. Some dental services are a lot more recession-proof than others. If people are worried about losing their jobs, they're probably not going to be too concerned about getting teeth whitening or getting cosmetic dentistry work done. If someone has tooth pain, however, I can assure you that they're not going to be too worried about how the stock market is doing or whether or not we're headed into a recession. They're going to want to see a dentist right away. Let's look at some stats. Since January 2020, there has been a steep decline every month of people who are searching for dentists and dental services on Google. In January 2020, there were 6.7 million people looking for dental services in US and Canada, and that has dropped to only 3.9 million people in April of this year. Essentially, the demand for dental services has dropped to 58% of what it was at the beginning of the year. Even when we compare April 2019 with over 5.5 million searches for dental services, we can see that there were 1.6 million less people looking for a dentist in April of this year versus last year. This sounds scary, right? The demand for dentists has dropped substantially in just a few months. But let's break things down to a service level and look at whether all dental services are affected equally. When we look at stats for how many people in North America search for dental emergencies on Google, we can see that the number has gone up substantially. There's been an increase every month. There were less than 370,000 people looking for dental emergencies in April of last year, whereas this year, there are more than 530,000 searches done for that service in April. That's a 43% increase in demand. Let's go down even deeper. Let's look at something more specific that people are searching for, something like tooth filling fell out. Again, we can see that the demand has actually exploded. There are 63% more people looking for that than there were last year. If your website ranks really well on Google for that keyword, or if you're running advertising with Google AdWords for that keyword, you're going to get a lot of business. Not only because the demand has gone up by 63%, but there's also less dentists that are advertising in general, so your costs are actually lower. Post-COVID, you're going to want to really focus your attention on dental services that are not nice to have, but rather essential services like dental emergencies, root canal, tooth pain, etc. If you gear up your practice to focus on these types of services, you're going to have a big edge over your competition who may not make the switch as quickly, or they may not make any changes at all and still try to run their practice the same way they've been doing for the last 10, 20, 30 years. As Charles Darwin said, failing to adapt is failing to survive. Now, if you're going to focus more attention on emergency dentistry, you should also consider expanding the days and hours that your practice is open to be able to accommodate more patients. I may already have a dentist that I've been going to for years, but if I have a dental emergency and my dentist can't see me quickly enough, I'm very likely going to go to Google and search for a different dentist. If you happen to come up and I call your office and you can see me right away, I'm going to come in. And if I have a good experience with your office, I'm going to consider switching over to you completely. You have to remember that most patients out there, they're not married to their dentist, and a lot of people are more than willing to switch to a different dentist if they see that you offer a better experience. If you focus on just getting those emergency cases in and you wow them with exceptional customer service and dental care, you'd be surprised how many of them you can turn into lifelong patients. On top of expanding the days and hours that you're open, or if you can't change your hours, one thing to also consider is to forward your office phone to your cell phone or to staff after hours. Again, when you're dealing with emergency cases, someone is not going to call, leave a voicemail, and then just wait around for a few days until you happen to respond. They're just going to go back to Google and call the next dentist on the list. A fast response time is everything. The way we've done this with our dentist is we set up the phone to ring to the office during regular hours, but after hours the phone will ring to multiple receptionists or to the dentist's personal cell phone or to the dentist's spouse, and whoever picks up first gets the call. This way, if somebody is busy at the time, someone else on the team can take the call. We also set up the call display to show the website number, so this way when the team member gets the call, they can see immediately that it's a call coming from the website. This way they can duck into a quiet room and take the call. A lot of the time, these patients just want to reach someone to talk to. If you take these calls even after hours and just spend a few minutes listening to the patient's problem, book them into the schedule within a few days, and just give them some advice for what they can do to manage the pain in the meantime or whatever problem they're experiencing, you're going to create a really positive first impression with that patient. So does this mean that you should only focus on emergency dentistry? Is cosmetic dentistry dead? No, of course not. In fact, once things reopen, that's when you'll be able to attract the most amount of cosmetic dentistry patients at the cheapest price. You see, when you're running traditional or older marketing like flyers or newspaper ads, the prices for these services don't really change day to day or week to week. If last month, for example, it cost you $3,000 to send out flyers, it's still going to cost you $3,000 to send out flyers this month. When it comes to digital marketing like Google AdWords or Facebook, the prices you pay to run advertising change from second to second. It depends on how much demand there is on the platform at any given time. Digital marketing in many ways is similar to the stock market. Supply and demand changes constantly. Today it may cost you $100 to buy a certain stock, but tomorrow the price could be $80 per share. Similarly with Google and Facebook, it may cost you $2 to get a click to your website today, $1.50 tomorrow, and then $3 the next day. During a recession, when people are panicked, there aren't as many people buying stocks, so the prices drop. This is actually the best time that you can buy stocks if you can afford it, because you're getting everything at a huge discount. Vice versa, if things are going well and everyone is optimistic about the economy and they're buying stocks, then the prices skyrocket. And this is actually the worst time to buy stocks because everything is overpriced and overvalued. The exact same pattern happens with Google and Facebook as well. When times are good and dentists are optimistic, a lot of them spend money on marketing, and this drives the price up to advertise on those platforms. When dentists stop advertising because they're panicked and they're not sure what's going to happen, this leads to a lower demand in advertising on those platforms, and in turn, a significant reduction in the price to advertise. Let me show you a few examples. You can see with this dental practice, the cost to run advertising on Google peaked at around $7.50 per click earlier in the year. As dentists stopped advertising in March, the cost per click dropped to $6. We turned off the advertising in April because this practice was closed, and now we've resumed everything in May, and now that it's reopened, we can see that we're paying $3.79 per click to reach the same people, the same patients that we would have been paying $7.50 to reach just a few months ago. Let's look at another example. This is a dental practice in a much bigger and more competitive city, but we can see the same trend. You can see that the cost per click on Google AdWords continued to climb throughout the year up to $10.50 per click in February. And as dentists stopped advertising in March, the cost dropped to $8.86 per click. We paused the advertising in April because the client was closed down, but we turned everything back on in May, and now we're only paying $7.96 per click. We're essentially getting about a 25% discount on advertising, and we're able to acquire patients at a much lower cost than before. I can show you dozens more examples like this, but take my word for it that this trend is happening with all of our clients across US and Canada, and it's something that you should take advantage of if you can, because it's probably not going to last. Now, not every dentist is going to be able to afford to keep on putting money into advertising, but if you can, this is when you're going to get the most bang for your buck. In the two examples I showed you, I was also only looking at the cost to advertise for emergency dentistry because our dentists are still not allowed to take on cosmetic dentistry cases. However, when these restrictions are lifted, we're going to see an even bigger difference in the cost to advertise, and it's going to cost significantly less money to acquire patients for things like dental implants and Invisalign versus what we were paying just 6 to 12 months ago. You should also keep in mind that this doesn't apply just to Google AdWords or Facebook either. You're going to see a similar trend with SEO as well. How well your website ranks organically on Google largely depends on how much effort you're putting into optimizing your website versus how much time and effort your competitors are putting into optimizing their website. If you're in an area where no one's really doing anything, you don't need to put much effort to get to the #1 spot on Google for most keywords. If you're in a competitive city, however, with dozens or hundreds of dentists who are investing in SEO, then it's going to be a lot harder to get results. With many dentists reducing or completely turning off their marketing, now is the time when you're going to get the best results for the least amount of time, effort, and money invested. Again, it's just like the stock market. Buy low, sell high. When everyone is optimistic and buying stocks, that's when you should probably be selling. When everyone is scared and they're selling their stocks, that's the best time that you should be buying. If you want to get back up to speed quickly after COVID and finish the year strong, this is the time when you need to be proactive about improving your practice and start planting the seeds. If cash flow is tight and you can't afford to put money into marketing, that's okay. You can use this time to train your staff, improve your systems and processes, your customer service, all of the things that you haven't had time to do before. Focus your efforts on improving the dental services that are going to be the most in demand, such as emergency dentistry, root canals, fillings, etc. Think about how your practice can appeal more to those types of patients. Just stay positive, be proactive, and I can guarantee you that you're going to come out of this situation much better off than other dentists in your area. I hope you found this video useful. For more videos like this one about how to rev up your dental practice, follow us on YouTube or LinkedIn, or you can always check us out at revupdental.com.